I assume we do that too, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, do you want to call those spoilers for the show, or what do you want to do?
Spoilers.
Yeah, like I started recording, and you're just like rambling on about the notes, basically.
Oh, well, I really just jumped on there, put my troll card in, and didn't really see anything else.
That's fair. There's not a lot in there. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Two Trolls and a Brew. My name is Samus. His name is Travis.
I
And this is episode 134, Sunday, ? Yep, we're recording on Sunday. Things just did not come together for us to record earlier in the week, which is good because now we can talk about the Pro Tour if we want. And Travis's trip to Minnesota.
Yeet.
Also, I appreciate those of you who got the lols on. We had a couple of comments. People really appreciated our Minnesota's puns at the beginning of last week's show. It was pretty nice to see. Some people had laughed their bums off, except they didn't use bums. But anyway, subtitle this week is currently the spiciest of hot sauce, which honestly, not so much. So Travis, how was your trip, my friend?
The trip was actually really, really fun. I spent way more money than I should have, and I didn't make anything back. And
it's all Travis things.
Yeah, except I was doing good with saving money this year, and then someone was like, hey, you want to go to a GP? I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I saw a bunch of things that I really wanted for my legacy deck, so I spent a ton of money foiling out that.
Why would you foil out your legacy deck? Isn't the purpose of your legacy deck to be like a nickel?
Yeah, but this way it's funnier.
Sure. I don't see a lot of extra value on that, but okay. So refresh. You're just Burn in Legacy, right?
Huh?
I said, aren't you playing Burn in Legacy or Goblins?
No, neither of those.
Neither of those. Well, who am I thinking of then? Doesn't matter. So what are you playing in Legacy then?
Dinosaur Reanimator.
Oh, shut up. It's fine. We don't have to talk about this anymore. Unless you really want to.
Yeah, so the majority, like, I got a bunch of the Reanimate things. Like, I got a bunch of that foiled out. I even traded for some lands. You know, there's a bunch of people there, obviously, so I was trading and buying stuff. But one of the highlights is the artist for Gishath was there. And I got 4 foily Gishaths signed by the artist.
Nice. I'm not sure if that increases or decreases the value of your foil Gishaths.
Who cares? They're mine.
That's true. For like what? Until you see something else shiny?
Yep.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's like what's his name? Patrick Sullivan. Like he was on camera one day. He started shuffling an unsleeved burn deck, and people are like, well, what are you doing? He goes, who gives a damn? It's mine. Well, I mean, again, you're not going to get rid of it. Go for it.
Until he decides, you know what, I need to buy something else.
Well, okay. He probably won't need to since he doesn't really play anymore. So
that's fair.
It doesn't matter. But no, so like the sealed, I feel like I messed up. I mean, obviously I didn't, day 2, but I sent you the picture, right?
I was just thinking that you sent me a picture.
Yeah, it was a black-red list.
Yeah.
And so I started off
like a zillion hoops. I'll try to remember to get it where I can post it in the show notes.
Okay. Well, I started off 0-2, and I'm like, all right, well, if I lose one more, then I guess I'm just out, and then I could just go screw around doing side events all day. So I went 0-2, and then I won 4 matches in a row. I was like, dang, okay, maybe I'm actually here with this thing now. And then 7th round I lost. I'm like, that was just really disheartening because if I had won that, and then the next one, then I would have been in the ninth round, which would have been for day 2. But it's whatever. I feel like I messed up by not going white because, well, I went red because it had more removal. Like it had shock, it had lightning bolt, and the goblin that when it enters, it deals damage equal to the number of goblins you control to a creature.
Right.
So it had those, and I I was running black, and I had Isserith and a few recursion spells. Like I put one Gravedigger in main, but I had a second one also. But I feel like I messed up by not going white. And the only reason I feel that way is because the Monday after the GP, we drafted, and I drafted a black-white deck where the removal package was almost identical to what I had in the GP. But then for the white cards, I had a Johnny's Welcome, and I had a Johnny's Welcome in my sealed pool. And I didn't think anything of it because, well, it's...
That's the one that you gain a life, right?
Yep, when a creature enters. So the reason I feel like I didn't, I screwed up by going red instead of white is because I had the Leonin War Leader and Mentor of the Meek, but no other small creatures.
Okay. Yeah,
but
then Mentor of the Meek is so good though, but you do need stuff to hit it with.
Yeah, and that's why I decided not to do it, because I was like, I don't have anything to hit. Because, well, I have 3 of the big 3/7 Vigilance guys, but that doesn't help me draw cards, and it doesn't come out till turn 6. But yeah, I don't know. Like for the long game, I think the white would have been better because I had 2 Take Vengeance and a Luminous Bonds. That's the new pacifism thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in black I had that that black instant that you gain 1 and then target creature gets neg X, where X is the life that you gain this turn.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I had that and a Johnny's Welcome, and I just didn't connect the pieces. But I had like 5 sources of removal in black and 3 sources in white. So yeah, like looking back on it.
I did it, by the way. It took me a bunch of steps, but I managed to get your deck up on my screen here.
Yeah, I can see it.
Sweet. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, you're good. But yeah, I had I think it was 5 sources of removal in black, but I didn't play the other one in this deck. But yeah, then 3 sources of removal in white. So I think if I would have gone with a more control build, like black-white control, then I could have got there with the War Leader. But, like I said, I didn't really connect the pieces until after I drafted the following Monday at my LGS.
I mean, there's definitely some cards in this list that I don't like, and I don't know if you had better replacements.
Not in these colors.
Like, I'm not a huge fan of Havoc Devils or Hostile Mentor. Like 1 or 2 of either one, like the combination would be okay.
So
and I really don't love Infernal Scarring. I prefer the other one, the instant speed one.
Yeah. So the thing about the sealed events in like a competitive, you have to write down your deck list.
Correct.
And submit it like that.
Correct.
So Infernal Scarring, I actually took out every single game for the instant one, because I had
Lesson
2 of
learned.
those. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, the instant one's very, very good, actually.
But the Havoc Devils and the Minotaur, amazing. Every single time. All like I never took any of those out. Because they were just every single time that they were in play, my opponents just couldn't do anything.
That seems odd because the hostile Minotaurs are just 4 mana
Just
for a
3/3
haste is just unexciting
Yeah.
and not good in this format, in my opinion.
Well, with the way that my deck curved out, they were already making like bad blocks because of the Bogart Brute.
I guess that's fair.
And like with Murder and Isserith and like just the combination of things that I actually did have, those like any of those 4 coming in on turn 4 or 5, it was just a game changer because they couldn't do anything about it.
I also just really don't like Lava Axe in this format. I have seen some people play it to good effect, but I kind of think unless you're going to run some amount of sorceries that you would be willing to double and then also play double cast, I just don't like it. Like if you double cast Lava Axe, then it's great. But if you double cast, like a Lightning Strike, it's fine. Or a Murder, it's probably good. Or a Strangling Spores, like it feels like it needs a little something to push it over, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. This doesn't feel like a. What'd you say you were like 6-3, 6-4?
4-3.
4-3. Feels like it's a better deck than that. But again, the
Yeah.
Infernal Scarring definitely needed to go, and I think the Lava Axe should have went. If you had 2 of the instant speed, like come back from the graveyard this turn, I could see playing 1 less Lava Axe and 1 less Infernal Scarring in 2 of those.
So basically, after every first game, I took out the Scarring and the Lava Axe.
For those 2 cards?
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, I think again after playing not really the format that much, although I did a bunch of sealed, but again a lot of the drafts, I feel like that's definitely the way to be. The what is that card that brings them back? What is it called? I have one over here. I drafted some last.
Abnormal Endurance.
Yes, that card was just so good every time I cast it.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm sorry you didn't have like the best GP experience. Did you get to have fun at least on the day 2 that you didn't play? Like,
it was great.
Any side
I went and played I went and played 2 legacy events. One of them I went 1-2. The other one I went 2-1. And then I played a draft which I went 1-1. And then we went home.
All right. Well, at least you had some fun. It wasn't your most successful weekend. It didn't sound like.
No, it wasn't. But with the legacy deck, I had a judge basically watching me the entire time because he saw me like turn 1, like he was walking by, he saw me play Faithless Looting, and then I discarded Gishath and Zatalpa, which is the big white flyer.
Right.
And he just stopped. He's like, "What?" And then my opponent, he goes, "No, you got to let me see that." So he just like, he looks at the cards, he's just like doing this. He's like looking at the judge like, what's happening here? And then the judge is just like looking down like
there's nothing illegal.
This is about to be real fun. So then I played it was Faithless Looting, a land, 2 Lotus Petals, and then Dark Ritual, what was it? Reanimate and Thoughtseize.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I played my land. I cracked it. Got the phases looting. Drew two. Discarded two, which were two dinosaurs that were already in my hand. And then I played one Lotus Petal, which I cracked for Thoughtseize, and my opponent, like after they saw what was in my yard, my opponent Force of Willed that, but they didn't know that I had the second Lotus Petal in my hand because I was like, no, this first one's gonna get countered, so it's fine. So I played that second Lotus Petal and Reanimate, and then they're like, okay. I was like, I get back Gishath. And then my opponent just looks at it. He goes, hold on, let me read that again. I'm like, okay. So he reads it, and he goes, so I'm taking 7 this turn. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right, well, I hope you whiff. And
You got to hope really hard, right?
Yeah, because it was his turn 0, my turn 1.
Right.
Yeah. So he's like, huh? I hope you whiff. I was like, yeah, that's everyone's hope. And off the top, I revealed another Gishath, a Verdant Sun's Avatar, and Carnage Tyrant. And I'm like, I'll send this Gishath to the graveyard, and then I'll gain 22 life. And he's like, or no, 17 life. Sorry. And he's like, wait, how are you gaining life? I was like, here, read this stupid dinosaur that you can't interact with. Because it's a 5/5. And he just looks at it. And then, like, he looks at the judge, and I look at the judge, and the judge just has the biggest smile on his face. And he's like, I've got to get that list. And, like, my opponent just looks at me and goes, I hope you enjoyed your buy for the round because I can't stop this.
I guess I did. Thank you very much. And then you gave him a 2 Trolls and a Brew sticker, and you're like, here you go, fan for life. Oh, but we didn't do that. I got to get those done one of these days. Well, here, the last 2 Fridays were less eventful than Travis's GP fun times. We did a draft, and I'm not a big fan of chaos drafts, right? I think everyone knows that, but I do really enjoy the pick your pack drafts, which in my brain are different.
My camera is going to go black for a minute. I'm going to send you a picture of the draft that I got on
okay
this last week.
All right, I'm gonna try to zoom in on this too. That is not the button I wanted. Anyway, so great. So he's gonna make me jump through like 18 more hoops again to get that one. So
you're welcome.
We did a you're welcome. We did a pick your pack thing, right? And everyone was kind of like on the poor side, I guess. And they just they kept taking like Core 19 and Dominaria, and every once in a while someone would throw something in that's a little bit more exciting. But mostly they were in that poor range. So I looked at Chris, who I called Johnny, and I go, Johnny, what do we have that's expensive that I can have? And he's like, well, we still have some 3 Iconic Masters packs. I'm like, deal. So I took 3 Iconic Master packs just to like throw some weirdness into the draft. And I like open my first pack, and there's Advison Angel of Hope, which I've never played with before. And I went, well, this seems to be a good card. It's a mythic in the set. I'll take it. Right? And then I get past my brain's trying to find the word here. A hidden stockpile, which I put hidden strings by mistake, but a hidden stockpile. And I was like, all right, well, I'll take this hidden stockpile. It goes kind of with what, it's already half white. We'll see what happens. And then people just were passing like junky kind of cards. Like I don't even know what my next few picks were. I think I got a Sandblast somewhere. I picked up like a Voltic Servant. I picked up a bunch of weird stuff. So pack 1 really didn't do that hot for me, right? Then I kind of picked up lands and mana fixing, and I didn't know where I was going to go. Then pack 2, I opened up some not very good rare, I don't think, and took I think a Star Compass, right, and passed it. Well, I get past a Thematic Compass, pick 2, which is my troll card for this week. And I'm like, sweet, I'll take this Thematic Compass because I have no idea what I'm doing yet, other than I'd like to play this 8-mana white card. And then I proceeded to get Dryad Greenspeaker, Skyrider Patrol, Scaled Behemoth, Rampaging Rhino, and Assault Formation, basically back to back. I'm like, okay, well, there's an awful lot of powerful green cards, so I must be green-white. I'll put this black card to the side. You know, taking any and all fixing that I could basically find along the way. I picked up that Wall of Vines and blah, 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 like, whatever. So then there was a lot of situations where I could have taken, like, white-red dual lands, and I didn't, because I'm like, all right, well, I think I'm every color but red, right? So then I opened Firemane Angel, which is a very good Magic the Gathering card. So I'm like, well, I guess I got to take this. And I grab Firemane Angel and proceeded to take like all sorts of weird stuff, like Forebear's Blade, and somebody passed me a Wind Reader Sphinx, which, if you guys don't know what that is, it's like a 7-mana 3/7, unless you have Assault Formation, and then it's amazing. So, like, I ended up with this real hodgepodge deck, and we had, I think, 16 people show up to this draft, by the way. So it was a 2-table 8-man draft for this, and we did one big pool. And I ended up winning. I think I dropped one game the entire match because I kept kind of an iffy, I'll probably just get there against a weak opponent kind of deck. But everything else, it went really well. I don't know. I'm a big fan of the pick your packs because then you get to figure out what it is that you want to open. But it does still add that element of chaos that people seem to really like. And I don't know. It felt weird to me because I've never got a chance really to draft the Thematic Compass. I played it in Standard a couple of times. Like I have it in a Brawl deck and I have it in something else, like as a one of. But I was really impressed with how good that card is. It's not hard to get to 7 mana or 7 lands, assuming that you have a bunch of cards in or a bunch of lands in your deck. And then obviously fixing colors is really good. And I was just like, all right, well, this is okay. I'll play it. And then I started playing Arena last week after this draft. And I just happened to get one, and I'm playing like a weird wall deck that I want to talk about more in depth in a little bit. And I'm like, you know what? I'll put this Compass in. And it's been great there too. It turns out Maze of Ith, even when it's slow and bad, is still really good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I felt like you were going to have this great Minnesota story, and I felt like I had to talk about my sweet draft. Last Friday's draft was not so great, though. I think I ended up going 2-2. It's kind of a bummer. Let's see. I guess we can. Did we talk about your troll card? What was your troll card? Johnny's what?
My troll. Yeah, well, I mentioned it, but I didn't say why.
Yeah.
So you got my text.
I did, but I haven't. I literally have to go through like 10,000 steps to do this.
Okay. Well, that
I will
sucks for you. Um, so, and again, this is why I feel like I messed up when I didn't put the GP deck as black white. It was because of this little thing that I put together, where I ran 25 cards and 15 lands, and it still worked out really well.
What's the converted mana cost in this pile? I guess it's 2.
Well,
No, there's some 5s in here.
yeah, it's all kind of mixed up because okay, so the I had it set up with cards that gain value off of life gain, like those 2 cards on the side.
Right.
Uh, the cards that actually give me life gain. Nice loud sounds.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going
Um,
on now.
so the cards that actually gain me life, um, utility spells and like utility and slash removal, and then discard. I think that's how I set it up.
All right, so I'm
But
looking at it here. We've got Primate and your 5-drop.
yeah,
Effectual
Epicura Blood.
Blood. Yeah, whatever his name is.
Oh, that card's amazing.
A bunch of Johnny's Welcomes. The Vanguard, which is a card that I've developed a respect for. A Blugler. A Bloodletter. 2 Neonates, another great card. Child of Night. A War Leader. Pretty good. 3 Calvaries. That seems like one too many.
Oh no.
A Star Crown Stag. I mean, I really like the card, but it seems like 4 or 3 or too many.
In this deck, it wasn't.
Inspired Charge, Rise from the Grave, Abnormal Endurance. A Fell Spectre. This is a card that almost should make my list now. This card basically killed me.
Yep.
In the last draft. Dude played it. I was at 8, I think, or 10 maybe. I had a plan, and I had sequenced my cards in a slower way, but a way to get maximum value. So like I drew the Regal guy, the vampire that makes bats. So instead of deploying like a Sky March Bloodletter, I kept it in my hand to deploy after. And then I had another like they lose life, I gain life card or whatever. And the guy played a Fell Spectre, so I discarded, I think, my 5th land. He played it on turn 4, so I discarded my 5th land, which trapped everything in my hand because I didn't draw another land until like turn 6 or 7. And then I played my land, played my 4 or my 2/4, and then he mind rotted me to hit the last 2 cards on my deck, where both of them gained me life and would have made a bat.
Yep.
Over the next 2 turns, I was like, "You bastard!" And of course, it put me to 4.
Yeah.
So, which was in range for him to get me. And you got the 2 Liches Corrects, Luminous Bond, Take Vengeance, and a couple of duels. I mean, yeah, this is a really good. Like, this is an above average draft deck, I think.
Yeah.
Again, personally, I'd like to see one of these Calvaries be a 2-drop.
Well, okay, so I took that into consideration when I put the deck together, but with the Ajani's Welcomes,
yeah, I mean, you do have extra turns, right?
Yeah, like I had so many extra turns because I remember like one of the games I played Ajani's Welcome turn 1. Turn 2, I played my Swamp, then I played Ajani's Welcome and the Neonate. So I gained 2 life and I had a 0/3. And then the next turn I played the cat, the 1-drop cat, and gained 2 more life. And then I passed turn. And then at the end of their turn, I activated the Neonate, which started the drain. And then on my following turn, I played the Pride Mate, which as it entered, it triggered the 2 Ajani's Welcomes, which put 2 counters on the Pride Mate. And then when I moved to combat, the 1 cat, it gained me another life because I had 3 creatures in play. So the Ajani Pride Mate was a 5/5 the turn that it came into play.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's I think it's solid.
But yeah,
But
so the reason I have the four or the three the Calvaries, number one, I can get it with the Bugler.
right. I mean, you never
Number
don't take it, right? Like that's the thing. It's
yeah,
just that card. It's just when you're building your final version of the deck in my brain when I'm laying out these fours, there's like a lot of fours.
oh yeah, there's a lot of fours. But with the Johnny's Welcome, I stabilized so hard. But there is one game where I had two Johnny's Welcome in play, and I played the Epicure Blood, and then I played the Valiant Cavalry,
You just
which
drain them out.
which it caused me to gain 4, and they lost 4.
Right.
But yeah, like, and then another thing that I was informed at the GP was when you attack with lifelink creatures, if you have the Epicure of Blood out, each lifelink trigger or each creature that dealt damage triggers the vampire separately.
Right.
Yeah. So when you attack with the Leonin War Leader, it
Because
creates
all
those
those
two
guys,
dudes.
the two guys have lifelink, don't they?
Yeah. So like, attack with that, and I had the Johnny's Welcome in play. So when I attacked with the War Leader, I gained 2. They lost 2. They take 2 damage from the cats, which caused me to gain 2, which caused them to lose 2 more. Like the deck was just, it was incredibly fun to play, but I understand why everybody hated me for playing it because it was
Yeah,
just
I mean,
absurd.
again, like I said, with just a few little nitpicks here or there, I think. I mean, this is definitely like. Did you 3-0?
Yes.
Yeah. Like I was gonna say,
Well,
this
it
is
was
probably.
yeah, it was 3-0'd
Say
because
I
we
would.
didn't do a fourth round.
Okay, I was gonna say I would assume this is a 4-0 deck. We said potentially it would be nice to have it either another 2 or another 3 and one less cavalry, but it's reasonable both ways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's definitely right there in that ballpark. My only real concern would be like, okay, if somebody went like 1 drop into 2 drop into kill your guy, play another 2 drop, like you could get beat before this can stabilize you. Like if there was if there was a fast deck out there, particularly if
Yeah.
those 2 drops were like the 3-1s.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I didn't end up facing anyone that's like that. So
Yeah,
go
that
me.
seems weird because go you because the red white go wide deck is probably one of the best decks in the format for draft.
Yeah.
So like to not expect to run into that or just to get lucky and dodge it is pretty fortunate.
Well, and I think I just grabbed all of the good because I did end up hate drafting 1 lightning strike and 1 heroic reinforcements. The red white card.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that what it's called?
Something like that. I don't know. I haven't got to play with it yet, so I don't remember. I just know it's a good
so
card,
stupid.
but it's not an instant. Which I was playing a guy, he needed it to be an instant to not die, and turns out it is not an instant. So, or he needed it to be an instant to not die.
It's very true. It's not an
It's
instant.
not an instant. Oh man. Let's see. Speaking of respecting cards, do you remember? Did I talk to you already about the wall deck? I know we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but I don't think we've actually talked about it since I put it together online and been fiddling with it. So I built it for Arena.
Okay.
Kinda like it's not all there. I haven't decided to pull the trigger on cards that aren't gonna that will not rotate yet. So I'm kind of like filling in with some fillers or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like pretty close to 80% with this deck, I think, right now.
Okay.
And a few of the changes basically include that guy who lets you play Historic spells as instants. I added a couple of those. I added some Dovin bonds because I had some.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Dovin bond is so good in this deck. I did not think it would be this good, but it turns out when you just want to sit behind a bunch of walls and like rely on 1 or 2 3-power creatures, and you have 4 Slaughter the Strong in your main deck, and you're just like, I'm going to Dovin Bond one of my 2 3-powered guys. And they're just like, what? And now I'm going to play Slaughter the Strong, and I keep my whole field. What do you want to keep? And they're like, because it's not the most intuitive interface on Arena. So they're like, they click all different combinations of the creatures, and they finally end up with like a 2/2 selected, and they're like, fine. I'm like, you could have kept the 2/2 and the 1/1 over here, buddy, but nah. I'm over it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, Psy Master Thopterus is like the golden. It's like the piece that holds it together. All of these weird legends kind of come together. So obviously, you have the guy who lets your walls attack is obviously like the utmost important. But the Psy Master Thopterus is like a 1/4 for 3 that all your walls, if they don't draw you a card, they make you a Thopter, which is really good, aka a blocker or whatever. And then of course the 1/3 that makes all your guys unblockable if their power or toughness is 1 or less. So then all your walls get through every time. Like I 20'd a guy. Like I had a bunch of walls. Then I like flashed in the dragon at end of turn, and then I like drew him and played him and like attacked for 20. Like that guy wasn't very appreciative, I don't think. And then I added in like a single Padim because I happen to have one and not something else. And I added in a few Take Vengeances. So I have a picture that I'm going to post. But it turns out, like, at least from what I've been playing, Arena is either like this weird Auras deck with like life game sub strategy. So they'll have like an Ajani's Pride Mate and then like all these different things to make him huge. And then you can just hide behind your Maze of Ith. Go away, go away, go away.
Yep.
Or you just play Slaughter the Strong once it's too big to live anymore and just like blah. So yeah, I think I need to tweak it some more and decide if I'm actually going to spend some of my wildcard slots to actually fill in things that may or may not rotate. I'm not real sure how the rotation is going to work, which is why I'm hesitant to pull the trigger on it in any meaningful way. But I have a screenshot. I'll throw it out there. There's not a friends list, I don't think, yet. But obviously, I'm Samus Garobo on the Arena. And in the event that they do add a friends list, then you would like to start yelling at me. Let's see. A couple other things. I have Jealous Much. So Friday, we did a Rochester draft, right? And my friend Scott was complaining that we were all stealing his picks like he always does. And then he like opens that 6/6 dragon that whenever you play another dragon, you get a token dragon.
Okay.
I can't think of its name. And then I swear he drafted at least 2 of the common dragons, but apparently not. So then he's opening his last pack to put in the thing. I'm like, yeah, it'd be really great if you open that foil Teferi now, right? And he's like, I'd really rather just have the Naya dragon. And so he pulled it. He pulled the Naya dragon. And I'm like, well, that's a pretty good way to call a shot. He's like, well, I should have been more specific and should have said the foil Naya dragon. And I'm like, well, of course you should have, right? So we play the tournament, and I think he's basically in last or pseudo last or whatever. But we have a bunch of extra Dominaria cases, like the last Monday Night Magic didn't fire. So I have like a bunch of extra of those packs. So I just like, anyway, baby, thank you. So I grabbed one for everyone who played in that draft, you know, just as like a sweet in the pot kind of thing, right? And I go up there and I stay handing out I hand out the regular prize packs and I hand out these bonus packs. So people start opening their bonus packs to see how good they're going to be. And like the guy who ends up winning, he opens a reasonable pack. I open a pretty reasonable pack with like a fat caster mage and like a reasonable foil, like a $10 foil or whatever. I'm like, oh, sweet. Scott opens his, turns it over immediately, and just starts giggling. I'm like, what? Did you get that foil to fairy? He goes, yes. He turns over his pack. And he had opened that foil to fairy. I was, so jealous. So jealous. But yet, I mean, still thrilled for my friend, obviously. But at the same time, I'm just like, strangle you. So, yeah, he immediately walked up and, like, traded that foil to fairy for a bunch of stuff. And, yeah, especially after this weekend, it would probably going to jump in price, I think, here any minute if it hasn't already.
So I feel, just speaking of foil things that jumped, I feel really, really dumb.
Okay.
Because when I was at GP, there was a bunch of vendors who had foil Vengevines.
Oh, my God. Yes, you should have picked them up.
For $25 a piece.
Oh, yeah. You should have picked those up for sure.
I don't pay attention to what the pros are doing. So I didn't know that there was a new deck with the Stitcher's Apprentice and the Vengevines. But the cheapest place I can find now, the non-foil ones are almost 40 a piece.
Yeah, they've really jumped.
Like, I was there and I was like, I have this extra $300 sitting in my account that I specifically set aside for this GP. Do I use it or do I save it so I can go do other things later this year? And I was like, you know what? Save it. Be smart.
I mean, it's so I spend a lot of time watching other Magic coverage. Like, I don't specifically watch, or I don't actually get to play a lot of Magic myself, but I do watch a lot of other people play Magic, whether it's on streams or videos after the fact or whatever. Like, I do try to absorb a lot of things. And I'm not a big Modern fan in general, but I do watch and the people that I enjoy. So I saw this huge uptick in Vengevine decks, like crazy. So like I had the feeling, and then Nathan sent me a message. He's like, "You sure you don't have any Vengevines?" A couple of weeks ago, and I don't know about anything else about Nathan, particularly when it comes to Magic. Like he's never been the best Magic player I've ever met, but he has this almost sixth sense of like wanting to move into a deck right before it becomes popular and good.
Yep.
Like, and then he'll put it all together, he'll play it, and he'll decide he doesn't like it, and then it'll be good. And he'll move on. He'll have moved on to the next deck. So, like, about 2 months ago, he's like, "Do you got any Vengevines?" I'm like, "No." And I went, "I bet you there's going to be a Vengevine deck in like 2 months." Boom, there it is.
Yeah. So, about a month and a half ago, I was talking to my buddy who he's basically like Terrence. He has like 8 different modern decks.
Right.
Well, between him and his fiance, they have like 8 modern decks. And I was like, "Hey man, I want to play Living End." And he goes, "Well, I mean, it'll be about a month." And I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Well, because next Friday I'm playing my Hollow One deck, which has, the mana base."
Right.
Basically the mana base. I was like, "Okay, that's 1 week." He goes, "And the week after that, it's a draft." I was like, "Oh yeah." And then the week after that, it's Legacy. I'm like, "Crap." He goes, "And then the week after that, you're in Minneapolis." I'm like, "Ugh." So finally, 3 days ago, I was finally able to play Living End. And he asked me, he's like, why do you want to play? I was like, for some reason, even with all the decks that revolve around the graveyard, I feel like it still has a good win percentage. He's like, well, I mean, you can always try it. I don't necessarily think so. And I'm like, okay. So I went 3-0-1 on Friday.
Yeah. I mean,
and
it's well
the person that
right
I drew with, the person that I drew with, he had a huge migraine. I was like, dude, I'll draw with you if you want to go home. He's like, will you really? I was like, yeah, dude, like, there's no point in you staying here if you're miserable right now. And if we draw, we're the only two that are undefeated right now. So we're going to take first and second. Right. He goes, really? I'm like, talk to the person running the scoreboard. He'll tell you that we're going to end up with 10, and the most anyone can get after this is 9. So we're first and second. And the person running the board is like, yeah, that's true. He goes, all right, cool. Good games, Travis. Shakes my hand and goes home.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
as
some
a
reason,
guy who has those migraines, sometimes I just want to
leave,
do the same thing. Yeah, like I'm done.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he was not having a good time, but he really wanted to play Magic, and I'm like, we can play some other time, man. You're good. Go home.
Yeah, I mean, Living End, I think, is in a good spot, but I don't know. I think we're about to see a resurgence of some other stuff thanks to this Pro Tour.
Well, that, and I think we're going to see a huge influx of graveyard hate.
Well, I mean, a lot of them already were including a bunch of graveyard hate, but I think that's even going to go up.
Yeah.
Like, graveyard hate, I think, is now in all of, well, I shouldn't say all the formats. In Legacy and Modern, so much more of your sideboard slot is going to have to either include graveyard hate, or you're just going to have to ignore it and hope that you dodge.
Yeah.
But there's just so much of the decks now that are going to rely on the graveyard that you pretty much, I don't think you can. So we'll see what happens. So I guess this is a pretty easy segue into the Pro Tour. Did you get to watch any of the final stuff?
Nope, I was at work.
I watched a little bit on again.
3 days.
I watched a little bit on again, off again. Team Hot Sauce won, which is Woo, Hall, and Orange. And I watched a bunch of Oranges play.
Woo.
Not the Woo that you're thinking of. Alan Woo,
not the
maybe?
band Woo?
No, Alan Woo, I think is his name.
Okay.
Alan Woo, he was on Death and Taxes.
Okay.
Which I think is part of the reason why we're going to have a big jump in, or big shift, because Death and Taxes usually does okay at Legacy events, usually doesn't take things down. But obviously he was part of the team, and I think he was the deciding match, if I remember right. That seems correct. It could be wrong, but it does seem correct. And threw a little spicy tech in it with Palace Jailer, which a lot of people have deemed the card of the tournament or whatever. So that's a 4-mana 2/2 that when it comes into play, you become the Monarch, and you exile a creature, and that creature stays exiled until they become the Monarch, which is pretty actually cool in this particular tournament setting. Because drawing that extra card in a turn is really important for a Taxes X deck. But I just love the fact that Stoneforge Mystics perform so well, because I am hopeful that they will actually come back to Modern. It's a card that I could see playing in Modern, make me want to play Modern.
So there is actually a creature from the conspiracy block with Monarch, the Monarchy thing, that is a dinosaur.
It's a dinosaur Monarchy card? Okay.
Yes, and I actually thought about putting it in the deck as a one-of, just because hey, you're the Monarch, you draw an extra card. But then I remembered, like, I have Sire of Insanity in my main board also. Just in case it's like, okay, I know I'm going against a control deck, I'm gonna make everyone discard. So it's like if that's in play, and then I get the Monarch cards, like, oh cool, I draw an extra card at my end of turn, and now I don't have a hand.
Right. Well, I don't know. Again, I think that we're gonna start. Either they're going to be like, all right, this is too powerful of effect, and we're gonna get rid of Monarch cards, or they're going to. We're gonna see a huge uptick in them. Like they've already taken over. What's the no rares no?
Popper.
Yeah, they've already taken over Pauper.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just the name of the game now in Pauper. And if they continue to do this well in Legacy, I could see them make a big push. If there's a format that would really like to draw an extra card every turn, it's definitely Legacy.
Yep.
So we'll just have to play it out and see. But I don't know. I'm a big fan of Death and Taxes in general. So I think that this it was played really well, and it was a lot of fun to watch. And he was on camera several times, so I was able to catch him a couple of times. And then the modern deck. This was one of those team ones where everyone had to have a different list. So a legacy, modern, and a standard.
Yeah, they couldn't have the same 4 of.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything like that. But I can't think of what that's called. I think that's a really cool way to do team events, though. Having each of the different formats represented, I like that. And then you had Ben Hall in a Hollowed One list, where I think I caught him. I don't want to say cheating, but definitely misplay. He cycled a Street Wraith. Oh wait, that would be why maybe. Okay, never mind. He was legit. I was thinking it was a different turn that he cycled the Street Wraith, but then when I started to retell the story, he cycled the Street Wraith into a Faithless Looting and then dropped double Hollowed Ones, which would make sense if he. I was thinking he did that end of turn, the Street Wraith at the time, but maybe if he started his turn with the Street Wraith and then drew and then you know what I mean, like there were some steps in there. So at the time I was like, shouldn't those cost 1 mana? And I jumped over to the chat and nobody else was complaining about it. So I'm like, all right, well clearly I must be wrong.
Yeah.
But I just kept thinking over about it. And I'm like, no, because I'm pretty sure he cycled at the end of his turn, but whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the Hollowed One list. I don't think.
Is this Modern Hollow One?
Modern Hollow One.
Okay.
I
had to clarify because there is a Legacy Hollow One list.
I saw a bunch of Legacy Hollow Ones getting played this weekend, but I don't know. There's something about Hollow One in general that I just don't love, and I'm not sure what it is. It might just be that, yes, you can have basically a free or next to free 4/4, but it just like dies to almost everything but Lightning Bolt. Like every removal spell in the format kills it except for Lightning Bolt. And even though it's 5 mana and I guess it doesn't die to Fatal Push. All right, so there's two cards that it doesn't die to. But it gets all this incidental hate from affinity cards.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just not a big fan of the Hollow One in general. If it did something else or I don't know. I feel like it just needs a little bit more. It's like a hair. Then you got to play like these really bad cards like Goblin Lore to make it work. Just not a fan.
Goblin Lore is amazing.
It's terrible. I'm gonna draw a bunch of cards, and then I'm gonna not even look at them because they're all gonna go away at random, probably. And then Gregory Orange played Blue White Control, which again I saw him play like he was on camera a lot. I don't want to say that his games took a long time to win, but they usually involved alting a Teferi and then chaining Teferis together after an alted Teferi to basically make his opponent scoop. His win conditions were 4 Teferis, 1 Gearhulk, 1 blue Gearhulk. That was it.
Okay.
No, that deck's disgusting. But he played it really well all weekend long, so I can't begrudge him. He did a great job. So congrats to Team Hot Sauce. But yeah, it was a fun Pro Tour to watch. Again, even though I'm not like a huge fan of these other formats, it's nice to catch bits and pieces of them here and there, or whatever. So thought it was fun. I would like to see more of these kind of Pro Tours or GPs or whatever, instead of the Team GP basically being sealed always. Then they have like Unified Modern. I prefer whatever this is called. I don't know what it's called though.
Yeah, like I'm not a fan of just having a sealed GP.
Yeah.
Like after playing it, I was just like, man, I'd rather just be drafting right now.
Exactly.
Like if they would have been like, okay, this GP cost $100, but you're gonna have day one, you're gonna have 3 draft pods. And you're gonna go, it's like 3 8-man draft pods, or 7 depending on how many people show up, right? So you're gonna have, you draft your 3 pods, or you draft your pod, play 3 rounds, throw that deck away, draft again, and then throw that away, and then draft again. Like that's something that I would love. I'd gladly pay.
That's 12 hours of Magic probably.
So
with no breaks, like that's a long day one. And
play faster.
That's not even faster. I mean, I don't disagree, but that doesn't even include the people who, like, sometimes the GP is so big, you have to go 10 rounds on day one or 11 rounds on day one.
They don't do that anymore.
They don't? They finally cut that off to 9 on day one only?
Okay. Yep.
I don't know. I did not. I was unaware, but I'm not a GP person.
So the whole thing is now it's all everything is 9 rounds. Like the limited events, it'll be 8 rounds, and if you're X and 2, then you play the 9th round for like a day 2 spot. But everything is now just 9 rounds day 1, the other 6 rounds day 2, and then cut to top whatever.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of having like a draft day, but even I couldn't draft all day. Like I do the 2 sealeds in a day for the whatever, for like release weekend. And I'm already like, yeah, I don't want to seal tomorrow. Like I suspect that for me that would be like, it would be the same thing for drafting.
Well, and for me it's like I love sealed, but only as like pre-release or a league type thing.
Right.
So that way you don't really have to do it the whole time. But if you have like all of the round, like you get all the different draft pools or whatever, then yeah, I can see that being really great, because then you get different options.
Yeah.
You don't play the same deck every time.
And it may be a different story. I mean, it's probably a different story because I used to draft a lot on Magic Online. There's a big difference, I think, when it's like, all right, well, you need half an hour to build your deck and half an hour to draft your cards, as opposed to you're building your deck while you're drafting and you need like 3 minutes before you move into rounds or whatever, or 5 minutes. Like when you shave a lot of this extra time off, it makes a big difference, I think.
Well, see, and I've gotten so used to drafting that I can personally draft an entire deck and then build it within like build and sleeve it within 3-4 minutes of the draft being done.
Yeah, I'm not quite that fast, but it takes me about 10 minutes to build my deck, and then I'm lamenting my potential changes for 20 minutes while I wait for these other people to finish their build. Which is good because I want them to have the best deck they can possibly have, but it's bad because I want to win and be done and go home because my head hurts. One last thing that I kind of want to touch on is I'm thinking I'm gonna have the boys assemble a cube out of my
Okay.
stuff. I think I finally decided. Like I've been toying around with the idea for a while of getting a cube or building a cube or making a cube, and I'm just not sure. Do I want to get like one of these cube editor things and like get a good starting point? Like here's a list, boys, start finding these cards. Or if I just want to take Rivington and Riley, I think Remington has one more day off before basically he goes to college. If I just want to sit him down and be like, all right, well, this Friday, you and Riley are going through cards until you build a cube. Here, go. And it's like, here's just 8 boxes or here's a case of sleeves. Sleeve this up. And let's have our cube together. Or do I want to like try to get some stuff together and then potentially buy some things to go in it? I'm not sure yet. Is there anything that like, because you haven't built a cube?
Personally, no, but I have helped people build cubes.
Yeah, like how do you get started?
Just go to Moto, like Magic Online, and see what cube they have, and then build that. Or if you just want to build like a block cube, what we've done is because it has to be like I don't know what's 36 times 14 or 15.
I don't know.
Okay.
Here's a calculator though. 36 times 15.
Yeah, for the packs.
540 cards.
Okay. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Basically I think what we did was we did 600 cards.
Okay.
And then it was like one of each mythic and rare, like two, or no, was it one mythic, 2 rares, 3 uncommons, 4 of each common?
Wouldn't it just be like 80? Wouldn't you just do like 86? Like to me, I don't care about the rarities of the originally printed cards. Like I don't care. I just want to have like the most powerful / fun cards together. But I want to have a couple of decks in there that people can automatically kind of lean towards, you know? Like I want to make sure there's enough burn stuff in there that if people decide that they're going to draft burn, they can go. You know,
yeah.
Like I want to make sure that I have a Kiki Jiki, a Pestermite, blah, blah, blah. So if someone decides that they're going to, they get it and they draft one of the Kiki combos or Splinter Twins or however you want to call it.
Yeah.
That they can do that. You know, like I want to have like the fun stuff in there, but at the same time, I don't want to have to go out and spend like a bunch of money to buy cube cards. You know, and I don't want to proxy things. That's just not who I am. So, but yeah, just some simple math. If you were to build 600 card deck, assuming 7 different colors, right? You have an even color split, artifact split, and land split. That'd be 85 of each of those. Technically 87 or 85.7. But I'm not going to be up there cutting a third of a card off to put it in the sleeves.
Yeah.
So like maybe a couple less lands and add one more of each of the colors or something till it works out. But I don't know. I would like that idea because I feel like something that's, you know, like 1,000 card box or whatever would be easy enough to carry around in the bus with me and easy enough to like make some swaps to. So I still feel like I have like a variety of things to screw around with, but still I've minimized my collection quite a bit. Like even if it's like let's say 1,000 cards or even 2,000 cards, like that's still not that much compared to the giant massive pile of crap I have sitting over here. So if anyone's got any good ideas on how to get started in building a cube, just like, yeah, just start with your collection and start going through stuff or look at some other, I don't know. I have no good ideas on how to do it, but holler at me. I'd love to appreciate it. You can send us an email, the number 2 trollsbrew@gmail.com. Sounds like Remington has started mowing, so this is excellent timing. You can hit me on Twitter, twitter.com/SamusGarobo. Of course, you can jump to the Twitch page, twitch.tv/SamusGrobo. I have kind of started streaming Magic Arena, so it'd be good to start jumping in. Thursdays during the day, I think, is going to be Magic Arena Day. Of course, you can check out the podcast and all the other stuff at samusgrobo.com. And I'm going to try to get Travis to do some writing and or solo videos or something where he just talks at the camera, and I'll throw them up there on samusgrobo.com. I don't know. I'm figure out something.
Yeah, but if I start doing that, what would be the point of the podcast?
Well, they would be short, man. They'd be short. It'd be like 5 minutes. They'd be like Travis mini rants.
Shit, it's starting to rain. I should probably close my window.
All right, everybody. Sounds like an excellent place to leave. Travis, don't melt, because we know you're a salty bitch. Troll on, everybody.
That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, salt melts in water.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does. Salt melts in water just like sugar. They're both hygroscopic chemicals.
They don't melt. They just kind of deteriorate.
Which is melting.
No, it's not.
Have you ever heard you're not made of sugar, you won't melt?
No.
Okay. These are local colloquialisms that by people who grew up in Kansas you should know. Because these are things that we use here in Kansas to express don't get too wet because you're a salty bitch. Troll on, everybody!
I've never heard that before.
I can't believe you've never heard this before. You lived here your whole life.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, but I've never, no one ever told me not to get wet. Troll on, everybody.
Troll on, everybody.